Welcome back to the channel. My name is Teddy, and whether or not you've pre-ordered your Burn Liberty or you're just waiting for the global release, today we're going to be going down all the different ways to get your armor so you're not going to be running around like a headless chicken come time for release. If you enjoyed the Throne Liberty content and want to see more, check out the channel. Be sure to subscribe, turn on all those notifications, and without wasting any more time, let's just jump into this, shall we? Now, when you're first starting out, they do give you your basic little armor, and they teach you how to craft your armor. But what happens when you don't really know where to go to get any more armor upgrades, or you've been running around in the same green grade gear for the last 30 levels? Pretty simple. Starting out, we have just our basic simple little story quests. These quests will give us accessories, armor, and weapons. Not to mention, completing any of the other side quests has a chance of giving you more materials for crafting up even more gear. Speaking of these quests, you will unlock the Amitoi Expedition. This will have a chance of giving more items to help craft up even more gear. You can do this by selecting the Amitoi button here at the bottom of your hotbar. This has an option to teleport you to the Amitoi house. In here, you can take a look around. There's your Amitoi here on display, and right here in the center is a book that you can start initiating the expeditions. Each area will have its own trait that your Amitoi is better at, so choose which Amitoi has their respected bonus trait, and you should be able to get luckier. At least I think that's how it works. You can adjust the expedition time by hours, with 8 hours having the most materials, so I suggest setting up your Amitoi to go out on an expedition every 8 hours to maximize how many materials you can get back for crafting. Now we can talk about gathering. Around the world, we do have little nodes that we can mine, chop, or gather for materials to do more crafting. The higher level areas will have higher level materials, so make sure you're in the right area so you don't waste your time trying to track down a gatherable node just to find out you can't gather it yet. Another way to get materials or money for crafting is with fishing. For those of you who did complete the quest for the Amitoi Expeditions, continuing this will unlock the fishing rod. This can be equipped like any piece of gear, and bait can also be equipped just like normal gear. If you do lose your fishing rod, another one can be bought using contract coins, and more bait can be bought using contract coins or can be found gathering around the world. To get started fishing, you will have to hit the fishing rod button at the bottom of your hotbar, stand next to any body of water, and cast your line. Fishing is a little annoying, but with enough practice, you should be able to start fishing up rewards and enough money to start crafting your gear really fast. Comment down below if you guys want an in-depth guide on fishing or any of the life skills. My channel is dedicated to gathering and crafting, and with the new MMO having gathering and crafting in it, come on. You know I have to. Opening these codex when you're out there exploring has a chance of giving you materials or the lithographs needed to craft up your armor, weapons, or your accessories too. So don't be afraid to go out there and explore and find all those cool little secrets. You never know, you might find the lithograph you've been looking for. Moving on from gathering, we have killing random monsters. While out doing your quest or just randomly killing monsters, you have a chance of getting materials, and depending on the monster, you have a chance of getting weapons, armor, and accessories. You can check the monster loot table here on the map, selecting the area and choosing which monster. Doing it this way is extremely slow, and I do not recommend trying to kill monsters to get your armor and your weapons. But speaking of that, we can move on to the open world dungeons. There are a couple open world dungeons around the world, like the first dungeon that you will probably run across is going to be Celius's Abyss. Coming down here with the group or solo, if you guys have your skills leveled up enough, you have a chance of getting a massive amount of materials needed to level up your skills. You have a chance of getting the armor and weapons, and the further down you go into the dungeons, you have a higher chance of getting even better loot. This will come with higher levels and PvP, so be prepared, come in with a group, or if you're solo, try not to do this when anyone's around. Speaking of running around killing monsters, we have to mention the leveling log. For completing certain objectives, we are rewarded with a lot of materials and lithographs used for crafting up our weapons, armors, and our accessories. Speaking of our leveling log, let's talk about the Lithograph Book. We can exchange all of our extra armors that we're not using for other materials or even better gear. Take a look through the Lithograph book and make sure you're not trying to input any of the armor that you're currently wearing or you had plans to use. Moving on, we have the contracts. Completing contracts has the ability to give you materials and the lithographs used to craft up any of your armor, weapons, or your accessories. Not only that, but you can earn the materials needed to craft up any of your skill books or just the money needed to go and craft up anything. Next, we can move on to the group dungeons. Killing the bosses has a chance of dropping a weapon or armor, and while out there killing any of the monsters in the dungeon, you have a chance of dropping materials used for crafting the weapons and armor. Next, we have our secret dungeons. These are solo dungeons that require you to kill a boss in certain types of ways. This will give you materials used for crafting, the lithographs needed for weapons, armor, and accessories. And lastly, we have world bosses. World bosses have the chance of dropping chests that have materials used for crafting, lithographs used for higher armor, or can also drop weapons and high-level armor. Most of the times, the drops from these bosses will be blue or purple grids, so be sure to check out the timetable and plan your schedule accordingly. And for those of you who are in a guild and aren't doing this solo, guild bosses can be done. These can be initiated over there in the guild house and will require a group, proper level, skills to be leveled up, and high enough gear. These have a chance of dropping purple grade and blue grade, so I suggest trying your luck with your guild and seeing what you can get. We can't have a gear guide without mentioning the auction house. If you guys have the Lucent or enough real money to swipe to get Lucent, you have the option to buy any of the armor, weapons, or accessories from the auction house. Keep in mind, this is pay to win and does require you to have Lucent, so if you don't have a good Lucent farming method or a good credit card, this option is kind of null and void. Whether or not you've been waiting around for Throne and Liberty, or you're just curious on how to get those better upgrades, I hope this guide helps you figure out how to get your armor and weapons easier, or start gearing up those alts in time for the release. I've been enjoying Throne and Liberty so far, and it's unfortunate that I don't really think this game is going to go far, but for what it's worth, I'm enjoying it, and if you enjoy it, play it. If not, then there are other games out there you can play, like Black Desert or any other game like that. If you found this helpful, be sure to leave a like, and as always, guys, I will see you guys in the next one. Keep gathering out there, everyone.